So I was watching a YouTuber with my wife the other day. Me and my wife both listen to hip hop, both love hip hop, into our old artists and whatnot. Yeah, it's a shitty day outside today. But this YouTuber, who shall remain nameless, just because I honestly can't remember where I saw the video, the guy's username or whatnot. I honestly can't remember because I saw it maybe a month ago. And as soon as he said this, I wanted to make this video, but I wanted to make sure I knew what I was talking about first. This man sat up and said Jay-Z has dominated the rap game since he's been in the rap game. And me and my wife looked at each other like, are you serious right now? Did he seriously just say that bullshit? It's like, no. I'd say a more accurate statement would be he's been one of the top 20. No, no, not even top 20. Yeah, yeah, top 20 is better. He's been one of the top 20 rappers in the game since he started in the game. But to say he dominated the game since he came in it, way back in the early 90s, from that point on, Jay-Z has been the most commercial, most talked about artist, most successful artist since that year that he started up till now. It's basically what that dude's comment said. And I'm like, really? Man, you drinking too much of the Kool-Aid. And anyone who thinks that is drinking too much of the Kool-Aid. So I was like, not even going. I'm not even going to even make a video. I'm not even going to elaborate on that. Then I play NBA 2K13 on my PS3. I get on my mic in this motherfucker playing with the nets and whatnot. So we talk a little ball over the mic and whatnot. And this cat is just dick riding Jay-Z the entire time, talking about some, yeah, why people bought 2K13? I was like, to play with players they like, to play with LeBron, Rose. Nah, man, they bought it because Jay-Z. And I thought he was just trolling, man, but this dude was dead serious, man. Dead serious. And I'm like, some of y'all. And then he said it. Jay-Z's been the best rapper in the game for the last 20 years. And I'm like, so I dedicate this video to those people. Jay-Z has not been the most successful rapper in the last 20 years. He has not dominated the game since he came in. He has not. Because when Jay-Z came in, no one really talked about Jay-Z. It was all about Biggie and Tupac back when he first came in. And after Biggie passed away, it became all about Nas after Biggie and Pac passed away. And then after Nas, it was all about, what was it, Cash Money and No Limit Records. Master P had Make 'Em Say in every fucking club. Cash Money Records had the Hot Boys. Lil Wayne was just starting back when his music was actually pretty much legit. Well, I guess as legit as a Lil Wayne track could be, given who Lil Wayne is. And then after that, Rockefeller Records came together. People talked about Jay-Z for a little bit of time. And then DMX came out. DMX blew up. Everyone was talking about DMX for the longest. DMX and the Neptunes. The Neptunes were blowing up as the big producers in the game. And then after DMX, it was Ja Rule. It's all about Ja Rule singing, making his songs and whatnot. Everybody talked about Ja Rule. Fast and the Furious was out. He was in the Fast and the Furious movie. Ja Rule was everywhere. And then after Ja Rule, oh, we know who came next, right? 50 Cent. 50 Cent, G-Unit Records, Eminem. Eminem had already been, a huge star in the rap game. But when G-Unit came out, Eminem went way up there. Because the movie 8 Mile was out. Casual audiences outside of hip-hop fans finally saw Eminem in the light. You had, how can I? Hip hop fans who used to profile Eminem because of the race of his skin we're just finally starting to acknowledge, hey, the dude can spit, man. Even though we've been saying it forever. You know, people who didn't normally listen to Eminem started listening to Eminem, you know, in credit to that movie, not just because of Dre. You know, Eminem will tell you, oh, it's because of Dre. You know, Dre got him his start with a lot of fans, but it was the movie 8 Mile that just launched Eminem into this whole new stratosphere. But moving on, I digress on that. After G Unit, then we had to deal with D4L, the Franchise Boys, Soldier Boy, basically the whole Southern rap music thing. You know, not the bad artists. Well, yeah, yes, the bad artists. I'm not talking about the good artists like T.I. and Luda. T.I. and Luda were around for a while way back before all this, you know, snap and auto tune bullshit took over for a good 2-3 years. Jay-Z came out of retirement. Also, before the snap music and shit came out, the Black Album dropped. It was supposed to be Jay-Z's last album, and you know it made a lot of noise. But then again, you know, you only had the hardcore Jay-Z fans talking about, man, we gonna miss this dude, man. We gonna miss Jay. Why you leaving, Jay? You know. And then Kanye blew up. People talked about Kanye's albums more than they talked about the Black Album. So that's why I'm like, why? When Jay-Z first retired, people were talking about Kanye's album. People were talking more about G Unit albums than they were talking about Jay-Z. But he dominated the game, right? And then Jay-Z came out of retirement. You know, Kingdom Come, Show Me What You Got. Snap music had taken over. Most people, when they first heard Kingdom Come, said it was whack. I'm serious. Kingdom Come wasn't a whack album. Jay-Z doesn't actually have a terrible album in his entire discography, to be honest. You know, and that's why it took so long for me to make this, because I actually went back and listened to every Jay-Z album on my way to work every day. On my way to work on the train, I listened to every Jay-Z album. You know, twice. I listened to them twice. You know, you gotta listen to albums more than once to really, you know, see what has staying power and what doesn't. So he doesn't have a whack album. I say Blueprint 2 probably was his worst one out of them all. You know, initially I thought it was Dynasty, but there's only maybe 1 or 2 terrible tracks on the Dynasty album. But anyway, so Jay-Z comes back, snap music takes over. No one cares that Jay-Z is back until he makes Death of Auto-Tune. And that put him in the limelight for a good minute. And then once again, Kanye comes back, snatches the limelight away, and then Young Money, Lil Wayne, Drake, etc. take over. No one talks about Jay-Z for anything other than his business savvy. Jay-Z is basically P. Diddy with lyrical ability. That's what he is. That's what made him famous and transcended him above other artists, was his skills as a businessman. You know, if you want to compare the bank accounts of other rappers to Jay-Z's, go ahead. But as an actual MC, you cannot say Jay-Z has flat out dominated the rap game. You know, you can say that he's been one of the top tier rappers since he's been in, but don't just come out with a statement like that he's dominated the game and whatnot. You know, that is ludicrous to say something like that. That is retarded. You know, y'all must not have lived during them years. You know, no one talked about Jay-Z. Jay-Z was the Darren Williams of the rap game. You know, he was a top tier point guard, building his own product, his own labels and whatnot, but no one talked about him. He was the dark horse that no one talked about. You know, you talk about point guards, people talk about Chris Paul, they talk about D Rose, they talk about Rondo. You know, they don't talk about Darren Williams, and that's not a knock on the guy's skills as a point guard. That's just how it is. You know, if you were to ask who's the best point guard right now, no one would say Darren Williams. They'd probably say Chris Paul, or they would say Rondo. You know, off the top of the head. You know, and that doesn't mean that he's not the best. That doesn't mean he's not the best point guard. You know, popular opinion doesn't, really mean anything in skill of sports. But in the music business, if you ain't popular, you ain't getting shit. You know, there's artists out there right now who can spit better than Lupe Fiasco, but no one will ever know who they are. You know, and that's all I got in defense of that comment. I was gonna go war in OJ, but I ain't even gonna touch that one. That's a whole different subject. But hey, like and subscribe.